Hello people, welcome to Exmuslim TV. Today we have Nasaran Gudarzi and Hamid Jamali. Hello people, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Good to have you in this program again. Today we talk about Ramadan, the holy month of Ramadan. That's why that's how it's called by most of the Muslims. It's a really important period of the year for them. In this year they have very a specific religious rituals they practice. They stop eating and drinking on a very specific period of the day, and then in the afternoon they actually start eating. And as I said, it's one of the most important time of the year for Muslim communities. Today we're going to talk about the Ramadan and the side effects and the negative features of such a holy month for non-Muslims and the majority of the people in Islam-stricken countries and here in Europe. As you guys most probably know, we have this government at least in Iran, Saudi Arabia, the countries across the Persian Gulf. They practice the Sharia law, and they kind of put the majority of the people under pressure and force people to fast. The first point I would like to point out is eating and drinking is one fundamental human rights. So people should be free to choose where they want to eat or not, where they want to fast, practice the religious rituals or not. But if you live for example, in Saudi Arabia, or if you live, for example, in Iran, there is no option for you. You have to stop eating. You cannot drink, you cannot eat, you cannot smoke in public. And if you do that, then you have to be prepared for a very brutal punishment taking place by the government. Most of the people in Middle Eastern countries are under pressure on these specific days. In countries like Iran, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, if you eat in public and if you drink in public and smoke, if you say publicly that I'm not fasting, then you have to be prepared for a very brutal punishment by the government. In this program, we're trying to say these sort of things should be banned. We have to recognize the right of eating, the right of drinking, and the right of to choose that would you like to fast or would you like not to fast. Both should be recognized by the government. In Somalia, for example, I would like to highlight the Somalia because in that country they have the highest and the most brutal punishment for the people who eat and drink in public. You can get the execution sentence if you eat in public and drink, if you actually do not practice the Ramadan ritual rules.
Milad, I want to point out that the whole Ramadan rituals and the effort and the money and everything that the governments put behind this month to advertise it, to force people to follow the religious rituals, which is accepted or which is allowed. It's a political issue, I believe. They want to alienize the people who don't want to do that. They want to alienize ex-Muslims, the people like us who don't believe in doing such things. We are under pressure in such societies. So there's a great deal of pressure, stress, and anxiety for ex-Muslims in Islam-stricken countries and in countries that we have Sharia.
That's a very fair point. Just imagine small kids going to school, workers, people who are supposed to go in the office early in the morning doing their jobs. They're supposed to stop eating. They have to practice that Islamic rules, otherwise they get fired. The students will get a brutal punishment by the school if they eat and drink in Ramadan.
Even it's not limited to just eating and drinking in Ramadan. People in Islam-stricken countries even cannot go to swimming pool even in for example, I know in Iran it should there should be some limitations to for people who want to swim.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah,
and exercise, because you need to drink water basically if you do not
but
go
I'm
for
sure
the
about
exercising.
swimming.
Yeah.
But it's really brutal punishment for ex-Muslims and other people who don't want to obey the rules.
Because I believe that they want to set like a standard. They change the rhythm of life during Ramadan. The times that you wake up or sleep is changed. The time that you eat is changed, and you, as an ex-Muslim or someone who doesn't believe in fasting and Islam and in Sharia, you have to obey the rules, and you have to follow all that rituals.
Yeah.
And this puts a lot of stress on people. And I have seen many fun videos of ex-Muslims like us who try to support each other mentally, during this month, because ex-Muslims they have to hide their eating and drinking, so they are always worried that they might get caught.
Yeah, actually, we had this demonstration a couple of years ago in Tunisia. There was a couple of young kids. They were there saying we don't want to go for the fasting. We want to be free and choose whatever they want. In the Central Committee of Ex-Muslim of Britain, I would like to point out also, they had this hashtag fastifying, and they are always run these events, eating and drinking in front of the embassy of the Islamic Republic of Iran and the Saudi Arabia. There is a big people. There's a majority of the people protesting against these sort of oppressions taking place because of Ramadan. One more thing I would like to point out, it's actually connected to the things that you said about the money and the political issue that we have. In this specific month, most of these governments that we're talking, they use the money and the sources of the society to actually advertise superstition rules. Just have a look the things that they're doing to see and observe the moon. It's kind of funny. We living in Europe, actually we're not that sort of oppression. We laugh, but if you live in this country, it's kind of tragic. They don't use the modern technology. They use these a very basic equipment to observe the moon, so that they can understand the Ramadan has started
or ended.
Yeah, that's sort of that's very stupid, isn't it?
Yeah, in this day and age that we have, astrology.
Yeah.
Very very high-end, high-tech equipment to do that, but they receive ridiculous budget for such things. They just their job in Iran, for example, that I know, their job is to know when Ramadan starts and when it ends, but they receive a budget for thousands of workers' monthly salary to do that. They are just observing the moon, the new moon, that if it's
and
there
some
or
other
not.
funny topics, if you live, for example, in North Pole, if you live, for example, in Sweden, or if you live, for example, in north of Japan, then what are you supposed to do in terms of fasting and stuff? This is so stupid. This is the 2019, and we still they have this topic sponsored by the government, getting governmental budget to have these sort of topics in society. The whole thing is very stupid, and these sort of things should be banned, and the money should be back to the people, basically.
Yeah, I believe back then, in 1400 years ago, Muhammad probably didn't even know. He had no idea there's a pole. There's a North Pole, South Pole, and people live there. People live there, and they should know. They should have told people there how to fast, but they didn't know they exist.
And one ridiculous thing is that in this age there are mullahs that said you have to, for example, in North Polar Zone, you have to fast based on Mecca or Karbala time zone. So it's ridiculous because as you said, Muhammad didn't know that there is some places that maybe people have to fast for 22 hours in a day.
Yeah.
So
Allah was not doing a great job those areas.
Yeah.
I would like to come and talk a little bit more what's happening in Europe and North America. These Muslim communities, they kind of celebrate the Ramadan here in Europe and North America as well. Small kids who live in Islamic families, they kind of forced to somehow follow the Islamic rituals by the Ramadan and stuff. For example, here in Sweden, we know there's specific mosques, they run events for a small kid so they can go and eat, and then there's imams and mullahs talking to them, talking about Islamic rules and stuff. Ramadan is a good excuse to put more pressure on small kids here in Europe and North America. I know there was a school, that was a very controversial topic here in Sweden, in Stockholm. There was a school in Kista, and the manager of the school stopped playing music for the kids. So basically, as Hamid said, Ramadan has a politic feature, has a politic face, I would say, which they're trying to force even the people living in Europe to follow the rules, to follow the Sharia law and Islamic rules. One more thing I would like to point out is we know that because of the Ramadan, there are some companies, they produce the modest fashion for the girls and for the women. It's really true. We remember in Turkey a couple of years ago, there was a girl wearing a short, and there was a guy beat at her because he was he said it's Ramadan and you're not your're not enough, so my fasting is not accepted by Allah. So he beat that girl, and there was a movement of young women, young girls, and young people saying people should be free to wear whatever they want, and we do not accept the oppression, the Islamic oppression, because of Ramadan. We still have it. I was reading an article saying there are so many brands and markets, they advertise the modest fashion, the modest models because of the Ramadan. So Ramadan is an excuse basically for the Islamists to promote themselves, to basically put the society under pressure and try to advertise for themselves. Of course, it's everyone's right to fast, but it's my right to fastifying. It's my right to say I don't believe in any religion and I don't want to fast, and you're not supposed to use Ramadan as an excuse to put the society under pressure.
Yeah, and there are many ways for ex-Muslims and other people who don't want to follow the Ramadan rules and these fasting period, don't want to tolerate even these times. And I looking for some of them in social media, and especially in Iran, which all restaurants and coffee shops has to have to be closed in a period time that people are fast maybe, but teenagers and even young generation try to address themselves to each other, the restaurant names and coffee shops and introduce themselves to each other the name of restaurants that are open in this period.
Oh, they are open, but they are underground. They are hiding.
Yeah,
if they get caught, they will be fined heavily.
Yeah. And Central Committee of Exmuslim in Scandinavia, we're gonna have event fastifying, eating in front of Embassy of Islamic Republic and the Saudi Arabia. So I would like to use this chance to ask everyone who watching this program to join us and support us and be a part of a movement.
Yeah.
That was for today, I guess. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching, and let us know what you guys think. Your comments, your feedback is important for us. So you can share comments, or you can join us, and then make our movement more powerful. Thank you for watching.